Bir de sen geçin tarafa.
Şoför içinde bekliyor.
Devastating floods have ravaged communities across Turkey and Greece, leaving tragic images of destruction in their wake. Lives have been upended, homes and livelihoods washed away as streets turned into torrents of churning floodwater. In this video, we will survey the harrowing aftermath of the intense storms and deluges that overwhelmed infrastructure and engulfed cities. From Istanbul's swamped streets to the islands of Greece, we will bear witness to nature's fury unleashed on these beautiful lands. Istanbul, Turkey was devastated by catastrophic flooding on September 28, 2023, after a severe storm dumped torrential rainfall across the city, submerging streets, sweeping away vehicles, and causing widespread disruption. Dramatic video footage captured cars floating down deluged streets as the floods turned roads into rivers. Images widely shared on social media painted a harrowing picture of the devastation, with vehicles strewn across roadways overcome by the sudden and intense downpour. The relentless rains pummeled Istanbul throughout the day and into the evening, affecting the European side of the city the worst. The districts of Fatih, Bayrampaşa, and Güngören experienced major flooding as drainage systems were overwhelmed by the heavy rains. Numerous roads and workplaces were inundated as the waters rapidly rose. Shocking videos showed cars being dragged along by the powerful floodwaters after the deluge overwhelmed the city's infrastructure.
Allah'ım ya. Orayı, o taraf tıkandı şu an. Yol tıkandı.
One distraught car owner described how the waters had risen within minutes, gushing out of manholes and rapidly flooding the streets. The rainwater had nowhere to drain due to the sheer intensity of the downpour. In the Bayrampaşa district, the historic ferry shopping mall was also inundated as floodwaters breached the walls and poured inside. Phone footage from inside the mall showed people struggling through knee-deep water as stores were submerged. The relentless heavy rain left main transit arteries like Büyükdere Avenue inundated, with drivers barely able to inch forward through junctions overcome with water. In the Kukukköy industrial zone, factories and warehouses were left flooded, and workers struggled to commute home as roads were transformed into lakes. Students, too, were seen trying to traverse the deep waters now covering the streets where public transport was disrupted. The downpour also led to suspensions and reductions on metro, tram, and cable car services in the city. The metro line in Kosoyolu was also inundated and services heavily impacted. With public transport hampered, many citizens had little choice but to walk through the floodwaters, clogging roads and intersections. Turkey's Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu declared a state of emergency for the worst-hit regions, while Istanbul's governor urged people to evacuate high-risk areas. However, with the rainfall expected to continue overnight, many citizens were left exposed to the rapidly rising waters. Meteorologists and Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu warned citizens to stay alert until at least Monday, as more extreme weather was forecast through the weekend. But the powerful flooding had already left much of the city in crisis. With roads blocked, homes and businesses inundated, vehicles abandoned, and public transport in disarray. The scenes of cars and buses strewn across roadways transformed into raging torrents were a sobering glimpse of nature's destructive power. Necessary repairs and preparation for stronger flood defenses must now begin to ensure Istanbul's safety in an era of climate change. Greece was also battered by intense storms which triggered widespread flooding on September 27th and 28th, 2023, just weeks after deadly floods had ravaged towns in the west of the country. The city of Volos and the island of Evia were the worst affected as torrential rains inundated streets, flooded homes, and disrupted infrastructure. Shocking footage showed the city of Volos overwhelmed by floodwaters Wednesday evening, with parked cars almost completely submerged and trash cans floating down the streets. Torrents of water gushed through the city as the region was hit by an unprecedented deluge. The downpours carried debris down from the mountains, depositing mud and rocks across roadways and towns. The nearby city of Larissa and Mount Pelion area were also pounded by intense rains, further exacerbating damage from recent storms. The city center and suburbs saw roads, basements, and businesses flooded out, with the swollen Pinos River threatening dangerous overflowing. At least 8 villages were ordered to evacuate as waters continued rising on Wednesday, trapping residents in their homes. The fire service received hundreds of calls for assistance in Volos as houses became inundated and residents were evacuated. Bridges buckled under the weight of the flooding, and rivers and streams burst their banks. The rainfall also brought down electricity cables and triggered widespread power blackouts. Parts of the city also faced water supply disruptions amid the chaos. Though no deaths were reported, the flash flooding was a devastating blow to central Greece so soon after recent storms had killed 16 people in the area. The regions of Thessaly and Pelion are still recovering after extreme weather earlier this month wrecked homes and infrastructure and killed thousands of livestock. On the island of Avia, heavy rainfall similarly overwhelmed drainage systems, leading to flooded roads and households in the towns of Lefkanti and Mantudi. Dozens of calls were received by emergency services, with military and municipal crews working urgently to clear debris from roadways. With meteorologists warning of further intense weather across Greece, Attica and the Cycladic Islands were also preparing for heavy rains and storms. Rivers were being monitored closely for any further rises in water levels. Recovery and rebuilding efforts from the previous storms were now being further hampered, pointing to an urgent need for enhanced flood defenses and infrastructure. The challenge for Greece is to rebuild affected regions to withstand future storms exacerbated by climate change. Improving early warning systems will be vital to give citizens more time to prepare and evacuate. Both Turkey and Greece now face considerable recovery efforts, but their resilience and unity has helped them endure many challenges over the centuries. By learning from these disasters and improving preparations for the future, they can emerge even stronger and more resistant in the face of increasingly extreme weather wrought by climate change. With perseverance and compassion, the human spirit can triumph.